Hey guys, we're the Jersey Comic Crew, and right now we were talking the Mandalorian Season 3 speculation. Come on inside.
Hey guys, Rob and Chris here from the Jersey Comic Crew, and on today's video, you heard it first from Chris. We are doing our speculation for Season 3. We just finished Season 2. We have so many things to go over. This is your spoiler warning. We're going to talk about what happened in Season 2 and that finale. That's going to give us evidence for what we're going to see in Season 3. So, Chris, the first thing I wanted to talk to you about was, is this the end of Din Djarin and Grogu's story, right? Because it kind of felt like full circle to me. Because I was watching the episode and I was like, all right, the show could end here and I'd be fine. Like, it went full circle. And then we did get the after credit scene of, the Boba Fett, taking it. And it's like the Book of Fett coming out in December 2021. What I think is going to happen is we're going to focus a season, maybe two, depending, on the Boba Fett book. Like, the first book was Din Djarin, right? The Mandalorian. Boba Fett is also the Mandalorian for all intents and purposes. Maybe we're going to focus on his story and him, becoming a ruler of Tatooine or whatever it is. And then we'll see maybe Din Djarin back and forth again a little bit here and there. And then afterwards, we're probably going to get the book of Bo-Katan. Ultimately, the series finale of Taking Back Mandalore. And I'm sure we're going to get Din Djarin back. We might see Grogu in the Ahsoka show that ties in. I don't know if we're going to see Grogu back, but it's kind of hard to believe that we won't see Grogu again because of the fan love that there is for the Baby Yoda, for Grogu, and especially all the merchandise that they sell. So I don't see them taking a long break away from Grogu and Din Djarin's story because obviously Din Djarin is a great character. We're going to see him fold back in many ways, but it's just going to shift focus, I think, to Boba Fett. We're going to see Boba Fett's story. Maybe he needs Din Djarin for help on a mission. And maybe we see glimpses pieces of all these other characters like we saw in Mando. And then eventually we're going to probably end the whole series of Mandalorian with Bo-Katan and that great Taking Back Mandalore. Because we're going to get the Ahsoka storyline, probably bleeds into that. Rangers of the New Republic. And it's all going to tie into the end, almost like a Star Wars Infinity War event where Mandalore gets taken back. And we'll see all of our characters again. That's what I think. And I wanted to see how much of my theory you agreed with, Chris, and your own thoughts.
That's awesome, all that Infinity War style stuff. I too am on the fence, Rob. I agree. I'm on the fence of if this is the end of Din Djarin for now, because we see, his story comes full circle as well as Grogu's, and he's given Grogu to the man himself, Luke Skywalker. That kind of ends that story, this kind of lone wolf and cub series that we've gone through this far. And adding to the Boba Fett date, that was a date that was kind of teased by Star Wars a couple weeks ago. A bunch of people put it on Instagram and other social media saying, this is season 3 of The Mandalorian is December 2021. I never put it up personally because I'm like, that's not a full date or kind of confirmation in my world.
Yeah, fair.
And now that we have Boba Fett, the book of Boba Fett is the book, what does this mean? A lot of people were also questioning, hey, Boba didn't get his own show when all these shows were announced. That was a big question. Where was Boba's show? Is this a, kind of spin-off series? So is this going to be what I kind of think is possibly a Boba Fett revenge series where he's going back to get, we saw him kill Bib Fortuna, which was the right hand of Jabba, who now looked like Jabba. So is that what that's going to be?
So you're thinking a little bit different than my thought, right? Like it's more like story arcs in the overall Mandalore. You're thinking the Book of Fett is going to be its own, whether limited series or its own side story, not counting the Mandalorian. You think it's like essentially an announcement of a new show?
Maybe, or okay. It doesn't feel like a full show to me. It's either to me, it's either going to be season 3 of The Mandalorian will switch focus to Boba Fett, or it's going to be kind of like a mini series, maybe more akin to like an Obi-Wan Kenobi series, where we're going to get 6 to 8 episodes of just Boba for now, and we're also going to get season 3 of The Mandalorian. Are we going to get this, kind of Siege of Mandalore, kind of akin to what we saw at the end of Clone Wars, in live action, and Bo-Katan and taking that back, which kind of leads into another theory of we're going to have to see this fight for the Darksaber, whether Din Djarin wants it or not, right?
I see your point of view, and I like it, because if it was my original thought where, all right, Chapter 3 focuses on Boba Fett, we don't really see what Din Djarin is doing, right? And he's the main character. I do like the idea of a side separate saga for Boba Fett, because while we see what Din Djarin is doing in one area, we see what Boba Fett's doing here, we see what Ahsoka's doing here, we see what the Rangers are doing here, all going to that climactic thing. I do like that. I think that's going to flow better. I just don't know, like you said. And the fact with the battle for the Darksaber, yeah, so like that's like the next point we wanted to talk about, guys. So now though there comes into question the Darksaber. Din Djarin has it. Bo-Katan wants it. She just can't take it. And it feels kind of strange just to cut off at that point to focus on Boba Fett when the Darksaber and this whole Mandalore rulership is in question. You're going to make us wait a whole another year for that? This seems kind of strange. I do think that we're going to get a battle between the two. Maybe Bo-Katan and Mando are like at odds with each other for season 3. Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe it's he wants to work with Bo-Katan. Because they could also, Star Wars, they don't have to drag it out. They could end it in like a minute. They could have a battle, not to the death. They could fight as hard as they can. And he keeps it, and they still like work together and try to like prepare to take back Mandalore. And he can still have the Darksaber, and then like they keep challenging each other throughout time until she gets it. So that could be a thing. I don't know if Mando's going to keep the Darksaber. I think he's probably going to lose on purpose so she gets it. It's just hard for me to see what he's going to do aside from helping Bo-Katan build the forces or working with the New Republic.
Every time Din Djarin had something to do, he had to leave Grogu somewhere with somebody.
Correct.
And that was kind of an ongoing issue that we were all like, how is he going to solve this one, right? Mm-hmm. Where it was like, yeah, you stay here, or stay with these lovely frog people.
Yeah.
And while I go kill things, you know? And now that situation has fixed itself in the hands of Luke Skywalker. So now I think it opens Din Djarin into a choice where he could, you know, we've seen Bo-Katan kind of say, hey, I want you to help me take Mandalore back. You would be fantastic. Mm-hmm. And also, like, you can learn more about the actual planet and learn more about the real stuff that goes on there, not this kind of just hokey cultism that you know in this kind of box. Mm-hmm. And that has been an aspect she's repeatedly said. And to me, you know, with these guys, if you're going to say it, it's going to mean something in these shows.
I agree.
I think the aspect of what we're going to see with Din Djarin is going to be helping Bo-Katan with that conflict of the Darksaber of where he's like, I don't want it. This is stupid. Just take it. And she's like, no, I have to earn it. And like, that becomes the conflict where I think you could do a trial where they do almost like a trial by combat, which we know Pedro Pascal does very well until he starts talking in Game of Thrones. And
if the season 3 is not the Boba Fett's arc, right? If it is Din Djarin, who's the antagonist, right? It can't be Thrawn because obviously Thrawn is going to be in the Ahsoka's thing, right? And Moff Gideon they already captured unless he becomes loose again. But I think they're going to hand Moff Gideon over to the Rangers of New Republic. So it's kind of like, all right, you have to make up a new villain essentially for Mando to go against, which is kind of strange. It's a new challenge that I'm sure they already have planned. It's just hard for us without any knowledge to say, oh, this is the new big bad.
We kind of glossed over the fact that Moff Gideon, who seems to be this guy who like was almost unbeatable in a lot of ways, tried to kill himself. Mm-hmm. Right? Like he tried to kill Bo-Katan and then he tried to turn it on himself so that they wouldn't be able to get any information out of him. To me, that's a very big detail. And that's a detail that to me leads to either he is working for someone, which I think there's still someone that's bigger and badder behind him. And I also still think that person is on Mandalore. I think we've had all these different quips and tiny little nuggets of you know, script writing that have been in the show that points to Mandalore is kind of the center or a big piece of the Empire still being alive and still fighting back. And we have in the finale, right? Boba Fett says, oh, the Empire turned that planet to glass, which to me means blaster fire, right? Like everything was turned to glass and burned down. And they are the stronghold. Moff Gideon had the Darksaber. That was the biggest thing of this show leading into season 2. Now I think it's Din Djarin, Bo-Katan, and her forces gathering. Who knows? Maybe Thrawn is still on Mandalore, and that's where she's looking for them. Maybe that'll connect what you're talking about, this almost like, you know, Infinity War, Endgame style content where they're all looking for the same thing. It's like, what if you just go to the planet And if you have the forces built up enough, you could go to this planet, which is kind of like walled off, right? Almost
Yeah.
thinking like Kingdom Hearts style, where like everything's walled off until you hit each point and gather your power. Who knows? Maybe there's a romance between Bo-Katan and Din Djarin, where
Ooh.
he is, maybe he still has the Darksaber and rules the throne with Bo-Katan.
One thing I did like about that, the fact with Thrawn being on Mandalore, right? And then I'm like, all right, if Ahsoka's going after Thrawn, and then we have our Mandalorians essentially want to go back to Mandalore, I can see that they're like, all right, I'm gathering the forces to go to Mandalore. I don't know who the villain is there yet, right? And maybe the whole Moff Gideon trying to kill himself does imply that he does serve somebody, because the leader doesn't just try to kill themselves. And then you could have Ahsoka still trying to track down Thrawn, and then she realizes it's on Mandalore, and then she tries to find Mando and Bo-Katan and meet up with them to do a joint attack. So I can see them both doing the different courses to get to the same thing. We do got to talk about the big baby in the room, Grogu. We got to talk about Grogu and Luke becoming together. Do you think we're going to see a series where Luke trains Grogu? Do we think that's going to be in the Ahsoka show? Maybe like Luke is building his own, just like his Jedi Academy like he was. Maybe Ahsoka comes in and we get the Ahsoka-Luke connection of who Vader is and Anakin. Maybe Ahsoka has to go find Ezra Bridger to bring him back to get training by Luke to build this Jedi Academy, this new home for the Jedi, because she actually believes in it again. And at the same time, she's trying to find Thrawn to end him. So maybe we can see that in that series. That'd be really cool.
That's interesting. I like a lot what you said, Rob. I do think...
Well, you should. It's fantastic.
Well, you automatically. There's no way Luke's getting a show.
No.
I'm going to say that right now. I do think Favreau and Filoni have now opened a door they cannot close in the form of bringing Luke back and de-aging Mark Hamill, and Mark Hamill still playing Luke Skywalker as he should be. But I think that door now is open. You can't close it, but I don't think you're going to get an entire series of de-aged Mark Hamill and Grogu and Jedi Order training. And I could be absolutely wrong with that, and I'd be so happy to be wrong with that. But I don't think they're going to base a whole show on CGI when they've done so much to do their own effects and practical effects, and the way they do The Mandalorian is also kind of how they're going to do shows going forward. We need to see Ahsoka meet Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I think that's the next logical thing to happen, especially when you bring Luke up, and then we're like, all right, Ahsoka knows Vader and the pre-Vader. Luke knows him post-Vader, and that is the spawn of Vader, essentially. So there might be this like connection, like Force connection, they don't even realize.
So I agree, Rob. I think, like we said, we have to get that meeting between Ahsoka and Luke Skywalker for those reasons, right? The same way I was just crying about the whole Yoda training Luke. Luke's now going to train Grogu full circle.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the meeting of Ahsoka Tano meeting the son of Anakin Skywalker, who is now the last hope of Jedi in the galaxy? And she can basically fill in the fatherly gaps of Anakin. And she knew Padme, right? Clone Wars, she's around Padme a bunch.
She knows the parents.
Fill in those gaps of how Anakin was as a Jedi. She trained under Luke's father and is still around. That is something that I have to see.
One more thing with Grogu I wanted to talk about, and this is like my wild theory for the future of Star Wars, right?
Like wild theories.
Because Grogu's species ages slowly, right?
Yes.
And the time period between this and the new trilogy is what, maybe 15 years, 20 years, if I'm not mistaken? After the events of the new trilogy, Grogu is going to be a spry, young, 80-year-old man, probably, right? So maybe we get an Oda Grogu story down the line, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a movie. I'm not talking about within the next year or two, right? Because they have so much they could do with Baby Yoda, right? Grogu. But down the line, I could definitely see a Grogu older story. And, it kind of feels like the thing that the new trilogy has sparked up looks like more Jedi are coming, right? Looks like almost like a resurgence of Jedi, if you will. And maybe Grogu is like the quote-unquote new Master Yoda, right? He was trained by Luke Skywalker, the legend himself, and now he's older then, but he's like in his youth, is still in his prime, and maybe he can help guide the new generation. Maybe it focuses on him, or he plays a big part. I think that'd be really cool. I think they're setting up for this character that we love as a baby, and we're gonna see him as a little older. He's still gonna be cute and adorable because that's the Yoda species.
The Grogu thing is really tough because even if we're aging him like 20 to 30 years, he's still kind of an infant, right? Like he's maybe in our age, he's like a 7-year-old or not even like a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
That's still really tough to do. I don't know if they're going to be able to do Grogu's story unless Star Wars starts building way past like the Rey Finn Poe stuff.
Well, even if it's
into the future.
Sorry. Even if it's right after, right? Like it's 20 years, right? So he's 70. So maybe he's a teenager then. And even as a teenager, he'll still be able to do his own thing. Like Ezra Bridger, Sabine Wren. What are they, like 15? I see anime characters take down gods when they're 14 years old. I think you can get away with it. You know what I mean?
Different.
It is.
Completely different.
But like you can see a Jedi Master at 14 doing crazy stuff.
I don't. I could see like the way Anakin was a Padawan in episode 2. He was 18 and he was already basically stronger than everybody. Yeah. Just not as smart. I think with Grogu, it's tough because he's 50 and he's still basically an infant. I don't know if another 20 years is going to change much because of his aging process.
Maybe
if you're talking 100 years, then yes, I think it's more likely to see him growing into a Padawan. But again, we don't know that's way farther down the line. What my kind of theory is on my side kind of pulls more to the heartstrings, which I think you will like a lot.
Oh, I love the heart. What's up?
So there was a character back in like old canon Star Wars Expanded Universe named Mara Jade.
Isn't that the wife of Luke Skywalker?
Yes.
Your boy knows some things. Ha!
And Mara Jade went away with the new Disney canon and the new Marvel Star Wars acquisitions and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Mara Jade is now an extended universe character only. And this would be a bit of an age difference, but could Ahsoka possibly take Mara Jade's place in being Luke's kind of like Luke falls in love with the woman that his father trained and the person she has become?
I see Ahsoka.
And then we possibly, unfortunately, see Ahsoka's death prior to Luke. Like, and maybe that's part of the reason why Luke goes to Act 2 and goes to, the island where he's a hermit. Maybe it's not just what happened to the Jedi Order, but like the one love of his life that he wanted to continue this Jedi Order with, and Grogu goes missing or does his own thing. Who knows?
I could see the romantic side of it. I think that'd be pretty cool. But their relationship to me is going to feel more like brother-sister. Because he's like, all right, you were trained by my dad. You're about the same age as me, let's say. Like, I could see that. And he already has a sister. So, like, I can see all three of them connecting, being like a family more than like lovers.
But then you have to throw in a lot more, the de-aging thing, which I don't know if Lucasfilm is as comfortable doing with Carrie Fisher, where they're going to be way more comfortable doing it with Mark Hamill.
You don't need to
every
see
once in
Carrie
a while.
Fisher. You don't need to see that because, like, she could be doing her own thing or off on a mission where they talk, right? That's easy.
I want to.
Yes, I know you want to, but that's an easy right around. The whole Luke Skywalker thing, they could always, the body double, him in the hood, and you see his face talking a couple of times. They can do that. I still think they should just do Sebastian Stan and save them a lot of money, but that's my opinion. It's
Absolutely
still great.
Not.
It's still great to see him. They look all identical twins, bro.
And they don't sound the same. It's different.
They don't. That's true. They don't sound the same. The sound is probably more important than the face. But I do think they're going to be more brother sister than lovers. I do like that lovers idea. But if you
throwing it out there,
if you make them lovers, then you're tying Luke too much to the Ahsoka show. We're going to probably see him too much. Then you can't have that. Maybe an episode she goes to where they are. He sees her for a little bit. He's talking in the hood, like in the shadows, and he's like, "That yes, I have found a new pupil. I am building the society. I want you to help me build." She's like, "Oh, let me go find Ezra or something." I don't know.
I also think, like, one of my last theories is there's a line which in the heartfelt through the blurriness of my tears watching this episode where, Mando's saying goodbye to Grogu,
Mm-hmm.
and he takes off the helmet, and Grogu like touches his face,
Oh.
and he says to Grogu like, "I will see you again." Blah blah blah. I think that is literal, right? I don't think that's something that's he's just saying to make Grogu feel better. I think maybe the happy ending after they take back Mandalorian, people die, right? Like
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of death in that siege of Mandalore,
yes.
and possibly does Grogu like within his training get to go visit Mando on Mandalore or vice versa,
Ooh.
or do we see like maybe like him through one of those holograms or something, see Grogu and the advancement Grogu's making with the Force and whatever else.
Maybe Grogu reaches out via the Force to Mando, and then
not Force sensitive
that we know of. He can be,
No,
and it could go back to my theory. No, but
too late. It's too late for that.
it's not too late for that. He had a dark saber in his hand. That's enough for me.
You could learn how to fight with a sword, but the Force is completely
I'm
different.
just saying he's gonna be
Hey,
related to
he
Vizsla.
fought with that spear. It was a lot different. Him taking down that one Death Trooper than when Luke came in and owned 70 of them.
Well, Luke has
You
the
know
training.
what I'm saying? So, but I think it's going to be a big thing. I think I obviously the initial question is right. Where is season 3 taking which path? Is it going to be? Are you voting Din Djarin? It's going to go Din Djarin and Bo-Katan in this kind of Mandalorian style take back the planet theory, or are you going? No, maybe this is the end of what we see of them right now, and it switches over to Boba Fett, and maybe Boba Fett gets a mini series that may spin into his own, or then it'll go back to Din Djarin and them in season 4. Who knows?
Who knows? We want to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Which path do you think it is? Or if there's a third path that we didn't think of, please let us know. There's so many theories that you could have gone with this. We want to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching.
And guys, please give us a thumbs up. Like, really helps the channel out a lot. If you're brand new here, subscribe, turn on notifications. We have theories for everything. Our entire lives are based on theories, so you do not want to miss any more theories. And as always, I am Chris, that is Rob, and we are the Jersey Comic Crew, and we will see you next time.
May the Force be with you. Oh, damn it. We both did it.
You gotta do it.
All right. Do you want to do it or you want me to do it?
No, you can do it.
All right.
I'll just should I do that whole section again? Or?
The last
cut.
Yeah, do it again.
I'll just do it again. It's fine. And guys, thanks so much for watching. Please give us a thumbs up, a like. It really helps the channel out a lot. If you're new, subscribe, turn on notifications. Tell your friends, tell your family to subscribe and turn on notifications because you don't want to miss any more theory videos. Theories are kind of what we do around here.
Yep.
And as always, I'm Chris Heller. That is Rob Moran. And we're the Jersey Comic Crew. And we will see you next time.
May the Force be with you.